Well, we're joined now by our sports correspondent, Yemi Adebayo, for more on this development in the doping allegations. Yemi, thank you very much for joining us.
Yeah, it's always a pleasure to be here. It does leave a bitter taste in my mouth if I have to be talking about, things that involve Africans. The hard-hand reputation of Kenya is now at stake. The country that has given us stars like David Rudisha, Terenish Dibaba, Gazebe Dibaba, all of those long-distance runners. And even yesterday, out of the blues, Kenya won in javelin. We thought it was only long distance they were good at, but now they just, from nowhere, just shows that country is talented, but has a lot of talents in there. But now this one just comes, just rocks our world. In January, it was Rita Jepto, the long-distance runner. She won in Boston. She won in Chicago. She was suspended for 2 years. We thought it was a one-off. But when the noise, refused to die down about, Kenyans being heavily involved, this does, shake some of us that believed, those things were just wild, imagination.
Now, besides the reputation being damaged here, can this actually sever the relationship between the IAAF and Kenya? Can it do anything to it at all?
The truth of the matter is, Athletics Kenya, that's the governing body for athletics in Kenya, is currently cooperating with the IAAF, and so as such, there's not going to be any problem. They've not been seen to use any underhand tactics. They've not shielded anybody from the law, and so the relationship between IAAF and Kenya will be intact. And, the IAAF has not said anything. The only thing they just told us that, okay, now you have the names. These people have been provisionally suspended. But they don't just discard athletes just that way.
Yes.
They work with them, walk through, while they're under that suspension, work with them, try to, make them see reasons why all of these things.
But didn't they know this already? I mean, doping is illegal, so what reason are they supposed to see now that they've been caught?
First thing is, Cynthia, you don't throw away the baby with the bathwater.
I'm not saying they should, but I'm just saying that I think were they not aware that it was illegal?
The problem with Africa, I don't want to sound like an apologist. I'm still feeling that there's a difference when somebody deliberately sets out to break the rules, or when somebody ignorantly breaks the rule. And now the fact of the matter is that a doping violation, a doping offense has been committed. Now, it would be good if we now know if it was. I mean, there was a case in football some years ago. It was Kolo Toure. He wasn't playing for Manchester. He was playing for Manchester City then, but his former coach came to his defense and said, "I know this player. He won't deliberately, use drugs." It was later found out that he used some, medication that belonged to his wife. Now, where I'm going with this is, some might ignorantly, I don't know if that's the case, but that's what I'm saying here. If an ignorant person, you might be good at what you do and not know the things that you should not involve in. And someone who is ignorant might just eat whatever you see, drink some stuffs, and it comes out.
If it's eating and drinking, I will agree. But this is doping. We're talking about the use of performance-enhancing drugs, right? So I think it's something which the IAAF will state in clear terms. This is something you're not supposed to be involved in. So claiming that this was ignorantly done, would it not even be hard to determine?
I'm just saying it's a possibility.
It's a possibility, but
just the way we said, there's a difference between someone who makes a racist comment and a racist. It's just
but
that
there's a
way.
thin line.
But it's a thin line.
So how are people reacting to this news?
It's sad, and the signs were there. When that German TV broadcast station and the English newspaper, broke the news, the things that they said, really scary. The former IAAF president, that's Lamine Diak, also an African involved in this one, told us that 99% of the athletes in Beijing are clean. So I didn't expect this. So I was sitting down and saying, okay, maybe people got away in the past, but the IAAF has tightened IAAF and WADA, World Anti-Doping Agency, has tightened the noose, and nobody's able to escape. But hearing this really, and one of the athletes, set the national record, even went ahead to win our heats, and really sad. It's a shock. Like I said, the hard hand, because Kenya and a lot of East African countries, we know the effort, the energy, the time, the resources they put into training their athletes, and all of that.
Well, now we really know the resources they put in training the athletes.
You can't. It wouldn't be fair to label the country.
And it also wouldn't be fair. What about the athletes?
It wouldn't be fair to also excuse them.
Exactly, because at the end of the day, they use performance-enhancing drugs, and some people didn't, and they probably won some races. So what was done then that wasn't fair when they used the enhancers? Now, I just think it's... My question now to you, let me just deviate from that totally. What kind of consequences are we looking at for the individuals who've been found guilty of doping?
Yeah, I mean, like those ones that you mentioned, provisionally suspended. The Rita Jepto that I mentioned, she got 2 years, probably because she was a first offender, and that's what you get, when you do. But what's the issue here is everybody wants to be sure that Kenya as a country is not guilty in any way. So if that is proven, then we could treat these cases as isolated. That maybe an individual just acts on their own. But, it's not just Kenya that's in the spotlight. The Russians as well. And, those two countries have been seriously targeted because some, I don't know the evidence that they do have, some believe that something is going on. There's systemic doping.
Really?
Going on. Some believe. But it's still allegations, suspicions,
speculation.
So I really love to see what will happen even after the World Athletics Championships.
Yes.
I would love to see 3 months after, all the investigations concluded, and if Kenya is not, doesn't enter into the black book, then we could just treat these cases as isolated. But why I'm saying that is that other athletes will be targeted.
Yes.
So if they come out clean, then you could say, well, this is just the black sheep. Those ones are just the black sheep.
It's not necessarily a system. It's just the individuals.
Yeah.
Well, Yemi, thank you very much for joining us.
Always a pleasure.
It's a pleasure, even though it's not a good topic, but thank you nonetheless. Our sports correspondent, Yemi Adebayo, giving us more on what's happened in Kenya concerning the athletes that have been found guilty of doping. Well, we're going to go to another matter now, which happened in the United States. That's in Virginia. It's about security. Now, sometimes in your life, you might come under threat in certain places, but no one would actually expect to come under threat in places like your very own office. But that was what happened when 2 journalists in the United States lost their lives yesterday when they were killed by their colleague on live television. Memos reveal that there was cause for concern regarding investor Flanagan's aggressive behavior towards colleagues, and he was ordered to seek medical help by his bosses. Well, apparently he did not seek that medical help and ended up shooting dead Alison Parker and Adam Ward at a shopping center in Monita on Wednesday. Now, you might be wondering, what has Virginia got to do with Africa? After all, this is Network Africa. Well, here is the answer. Studies show that 40% of employees are not happy with their jobs and they tend to become disgruntled. And if that could happen in the United States, it certainly could happen anywhere else. Based on that, we're looking at some of the protection, some of the factors that need to be in place to shun or to protect one from workplace violence. It is important to establish a zero tolerance policy in terms of not tolerating violence in any way. It is also important that managers are trained on how to recognize early warning signs before it gets too late and we have something as tragic as what happened yesterday repeat itself, where 2 people were killed live on air. It is also important to emphasize incidents reporting among employees, in that a case is not left hanging. In the event that something happens, it's reported immediately and not left to grow. It is also important to formalize an exit procedure and also to notify police of illegal or suspicious behavior. It is also very important, if need be, to file a temporary restraining order against a violent individual. Well, our hearts are indeed with the families of those who were killed yesterday. But we're going to now throw out our question of the day, and it's based on what happened in Kenya concerning the doping allegations. What we're asking is pretty simple. How can the occurrence of doping be stopped in sports? Well, we're not rocket. This is something that Yemi has talked about. You can give us your opinion on this matter either via email or Twitter. The address and handle are right there on your screen. As always, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much for watching Network Africa right here on Channels Television. I'm Cynthia Are.